Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy 420, where today we're going to be returning to the gridiron and discussing a massive trade that just went down in the world of the NFL, that being Odell Beckham Jr. being traded to my favorite team, the Cleveland Browns. With every trade, there's going to be perceived winners and losers, so I will discuss my perceived winners and losers in this particular trade, with also some potential fantasy fallout that comes from this particular trade. And with that being said, I think it's first most important to lay out the parameters of the trade. So it was Odell Beckham Jr. being traded straight up to the Cleveland Browns for their 2019 first round pick, which was slotted in at number 17 this year. One of their 2019 third round picks, the one that sits at 95, from the Patriots for their Danny Shelton trade, so it's their later pick, and Jabrill Peppers. So my first winner of the trade is going to be Odell Beckham Jr., the person or player. I think this was the perfect landing spot for him. He's going to be beloved by the city, whose number one, number two, number three sport, it seems, is football. I've lived there for a couple of years. They were really happy when LeBron bought them their first championship, and the Indians are always beloved. But if the Browns win, you will truly see that city be more excited than ever before, including their first championship in 40 years that we saw with LeBron. He's a beloved hard worker with his teammates. He's going to be surrounded by talent, so there's no reason for him to be happy. He's getting his deal reworked, so he's going to get more money up front, so he should be happy with the money. And he's going to be on a winning team that I believe is going to be contending for a Super Bowl as early as maybe this year. So Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be super happy, I believe, in Cleveland. And that's the first winner. The second winner, I think, is the Cleveland Browns as a football team. Anytime that you can acquire a 26-year-old generational talent and arguably the best playmaker in the league, I think you have to do it. I don't think they gave up a terribly large amount. And there's a couple stats that I would have to point out. Since his rookie season in 2014, Odell Beckham is third in the NFL in yards per game in terms of average. That's obviously a really good yard per game number. And then he is third in touchdowns. So that's including all of the games he's also missed. And he's missed 20 more games than DeAndre Hopkins, who's second on the list, and he has one less touchdown. So he has a nose for the end zone. We all know his breakaway ability. Whenever you can land a talent in a city like Cleveland, you just have to pull the trigger like that. It was just a no-brainer move. This is also just really good for their team composition. He will move to the number one wide receiver, which will move Landry to the number two or the slot. So he will play his natural position and feast on whoever is not their best cornerback. They now, in my opinion, have two top 10 running backs in Chubb and Kareem Hunt once he returns. Baker Mayfield set a rookie TD record. The time to strike with a young team is now. All those players are under 30 years old, and it's really exciting to be a Cleveland fan right now. The Steelers just lost Antonio Brown. They lost Le'Veon Bell. Big Ben was talking about retirement a couple off seasons ago, and if they take a step back, I believe that might resurface. The Ravens lost Eric Weddle, Terrell Suggs, Mosley, and another one of their defensive starters. The Bengals are still rolling with Andy Dalton and A.J. Green, and this division really is ripe for the taking. I would definitely put the Browns to win that division after this for sure. I would have done it, honestly, as a bold prediction just based on Kareem Hunt and if they improve the roster, but their roster is tremendously improved right now. And I kind of mentioned they only gave up a first-round pick, which was a middling pick for where Odell Beckham was picked in the NFL draft in general, regardless. Uh, the third round pick, they like I said, they have another one, and they still have their second round pick for this year, a third round pick, and two fourth round picks, which is obviously that third day now that the first round has its own day. But they'll have their pick out of that third day, fourth round premier round spot. So they still have a ton of ammunition. So I just think the Browns win this trade in every sense of the word. Finally, there's in fantasy, I believe Baker Mayfield takes a step forward. Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and Kareem Hunt, when he comes back, he just has all the tools. Problem is, he's not a secret anymore. He's going to leap up after this. So, Nick Chubb, another person, he is not any worse after this trade. I just think the Browns are going to be a more prolific offense in general. It should actually maybe help him. He's going to see no stacked fronts with that receiving core they have in Cleveland. And he's going to be an every week RB1. Pick him, no doubt in your mind. Jarvis Landry, like I said, he's going to move to the slot, and he's not going to face their top cornerback. He's not going to be on the outside anymore. And he has another year with Baker Mayfield, so I think he's just going to feast. And Antonio Callaway, he's going to be prone to some breakout games when he gets wide open. He's not going to have to face their even number two corner most likely most of the time. I really like Antonio Callaway as well. He might be an every week flyer. Once again, another guy who has some early built-in chemistry with Baker Mayfield. The last winner, honestly, guys, is me and every other Cleveland fan. Odell Beckham Jr. is my favorite player in the NFL, and he was traded to my favorite team, and that is really rare, something that a lot of people won't see in their lifetime. So I'm really lucky and can't wait to watch every minute of every Browns game this year. I'm really fortunate. So moving on to, unfortunately, the losers in this, I think big time, are the New York Giants. I'm not really sure what's going on with their team in general. They did not franchise Landon Collins this offseason and lost a Pro Bowler, got nothing in return. So that's never good. They had a number 2 pick last year in a generationally loaded QB draft with 4 going in the top 10. They didn't take one of them, and they picked Saquon Barkley. There was also Lamar Jackson in that pool, who a lot of people like as well. I obviously like Barkley, but without a passing game to protect him, it's kind of hard when you see loaded fronts. That also being said, they beefed up their offensive line, signing Nate Solder to the largest tackle contract in the NFL, and then in this offseason traded for Kevin Zeitler as well from the Browns. So they're paying a ton of money for an offensive line, but it doesn't really matter how much money you pay them and how good your running back is if their other team's just going to stack the box and you have nobody to pass to. So just very curious moves. They hired a coach who's a offensive coordinator who's famous for having 2 wide receivers and passing the ball around, and you trade your generationally talented wide receiver. Kind of interesting. I think they're obviously going to sell their fans that they got a first rounder for Odell. They have a second first rounder in Jabrill Peppers, which is more or less true. And you got another pick, but you have to hit on those picks, which is really important. And Jabrill Peppers, a lot of people think sort of benefited from Greg Williams coming over to Cleveland and filling in that box safety run stopping role. His rookie year, he was sort of underwhelming, and he hasn't really created turnovers, only 2 interceptions in his first 2 years. So I'm not really sure if he's going to fit in general. He probably would have been traded for around a mid-round pick in general if he was traded straight up for anything in the offseason. So I'm not really sure about Peppers. Last year, I will admit, was a little bit rough for the Giants, but I really liked them going into this offseason. If they just improved their defense a little bit, they had another year of Saquon, Odell Beckham going into the season with Sterling and Ingram being healthy, Foles leaving Philadelphia, not knowing where to trust Wentz in the year. Washington is a team in flux with their quarterback being hurt, just trading for Case Keenum. Who knows with Darius Geis and Peterson? And the NFL is so predictable yearly. Who knows? You could have started the year with Odell and Saquon tearing it up, winning the games on offense, and they could have taken that division. Obviously, I would have predicted the Cowboys to win that division, but who knows with Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott year to year? It's not like he's throwing the ball all around the field every single year. They're going to pound the ball with Zeke. Obviously, Cooper helped, but honestly, like I said, who knows? I really liked the Giants next year, and as somebody who's a Cleveland fan and lost LeBron James, and I have a few New York Giants fans, I do just honestly feel genuinely sorry for somebody when you lose a generational talent, and it just really sucks. So I just feel bad for the Giants team and their fans, and I also feel bad for their fantasy prospects on their team that's left forward. I'd be really hesitant, like I said, to pick Barkley. I think he's going to get fed the rock more than anyone in the NFL and past it, but they're just going to load up that box, make teams pass against them. He's going to see more loaded fronts than anyone. It's going to be all about his playmaking and breakaway ability. It's just not a good thing to bet on. Evan Ingram, I would say, yeah, when Odell isn't there, he's really performed in his first 2 years, but he's being drafted overall on Fantasy Calculator right now as a number 6 tight end anyway. So I could see definitely him getting that or maybe above there, but there's not a tremendous amount of upside right there, so I'm not sure he benefits a lot. And Sterling Shepard obviously could benefit, but he's very injury prone, and I'm not really sure I'd be more comfortable with him as a wide receiver 2, assuming he went off. So I'm not really sure anybody else super benefits from that. And finally, I think my last loser in this trade would just be a minor knockdown to Odell Beckham Jr.'s fantasy value. I just, before this trade, I really did think more than ever before there was a chance that he could be the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy, and he still could, but I just think that upside takes a little bit of a hit. I would definitely take DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams, who their teams are going to need a lot more volume coming out of them. This offense is just loaded. They're not going to need it every single day from Odell, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And most importantly, he's not going to have to do it every day like he was going to have to on the Giants. He was just going to have to carry that team with Saquon, but now there's not going to be that, and there's going to be a lot of mouths to feed in Cleveland, and I think his fantasy upside takes a minor hit. But that being said, guys, it's a great day to be a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm really happy about this trade for my team. Really happy you were here to talk with me about it. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear from you about them, and I hope you all have a great day as well. I'll talk to you soon with another video, and hopefully you can all subscribe and take a look at some of my other videos in the corner. But take it easy, everybody, and have a great day as always.